Hello my dear students, how you all? I hope you all going good and doing well. I heartily welcome you all for the Samveda e-learning program and also for the second session of your lesson fractions. My dear student, in the first session we have learnt about some fundamental concepts of fractions. There you have learnt about how to read the fraction and how to write the fraction in terms of numerator as well as denominator, and also you have learnt about proper and improper fraction along with mixed fractions. So, these are the concepts what we have learnt or what we have discussed in the first session. You have learnt about the meaning of fraction, you have learnt about the representation of fraction on a number line, and also you have learnt about proper fraction, improper fraction and mixed fractions, and you have solved problems related to the fractions. Now, let us learn few more concepts in this session. Before going to that, just you recall the meaning of the fraction, proper fraction as well as improper fraction. My dear student, it is familiar to you, a fraction is a number representing a part of whole. The whole may be a single object or may be a group of object. It may be represent as one or it may be a group of numbers. And also a fraction means a part of a group or a region. And also you have learnt how to read the fraction. If 5 divided by 12 is there, means how to read this fraction? Yes, we read it as 5/12, and 12 stands for number of equal parts into which the whole has been divided. And what about 5? 5 stands for numbers of equal parts which have been taken out, and 5 is called numerator and 12 is called denominator. Then what is a proper fraction? You are right, you are telling correct. Proper fraction means in case of proper fractions, numerator is always less than the denominator. In a proper fraction, the numerator is always less than the denominator, and the value of the proper fraction is always less than 1. Then what is improper fraction? Yes, you are recalling it. So, if you look at the example like 4 by 3, 3 by 2, 7 by 5, all these fractions, the numerator is greater than the denominator. Therefore, in this case, these are the example for improper fraction. A improper fraction is a fraction in which numerator is equal to or greater than the denominator, and such a fraction is called as improper fraction. In case of mixed fraction, what we are going to notice? We are going to notice a whole number part and a fractional part. So, these three, 1 1 by 2, 2 1 by 3 and 1 2 by 5 are the example for mixed fraction. A mixed fraction is a type of fraction in which there is a whole number part and a fractional part. My dear student, let us learn about equivalent fractions and the method of expression of a fraction into a simplest form, and also let us learn about like fractions and unlike fractions in today's session. My dear student, let us learn about equivalent fraction. Look at the picture I am showing you now. Here, the out of 2 rectangle, 1 rectangle is shaded, and out of 4 square, 2 squares are shaded. Out of 8 squares, 4 squares are shaded. Then if you are going to express this in terms of fraction, here out of 2, 1 is shaded, out of 4, 2 is shaded, out of 8, 4 is shaded. So, here 1 by 2, 2 by 4 and 4 by 8, all these are called as equivalent fractions. Why these are called as equivalent fractions? These are called equivalent fractions because when we are going to simplify the fractions, we will get the same value. Here the fraction is 1 by 2, not possible to simplify further. Look at the second picture. Here 2 by 4 is there, this 2 and 4 can be further simplified, that is 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, that becomes 1 by 2. Similarly, in case of 4 divided by 8, we can simplify this further, that is 4 ones are and 4 twos are 8. So, therefore, the value of this fraction is also becomes 1 by 2 and this is 1 by 2 and this is also 1 by 2. Therefore, these 3 fractions are example for equivalent fractions. Now, the meaning of equivalent fractions is fractions that may have different numerator and denominator, but they represent the same value. Is it understood? What is an equivalent fraction? An equivalent fraction is a fraction that may have different numerators and different denominators, but what they represent? Yes, they should represent same value. So, those fractions are called as equivalent fractions. For example, I am taking another example, 4 by 3 and 8 by 6. So, 4 by 3 is already in simplest form, 8 by 6 can be represented as, if you are going to divide it by 2, 2 fours are and 2 threes are. 8 by 6 also can be written as 4 by 3. So, therefore, these two fractions are example for equivalent fractions. Now, equivalent fractions represent the same part of a whole, that is the important thing you have to note. Now, you have a question on equivalent fraction, or 1 by 3 and 3 by 7 equivalent, give reason. Here pair of fractions are given, out of these two we have to verify whether they are example for equivalent fractions or not, and also we have to give the reason for our answer. Now, let us come to the answer. No, they are not equivalent fractions because they do not represent the same part of whole, or the value of the given fractions are not same. 1 by 3 is already in simplest form, 3 by 7 is already in simplest form. When we are going to compare these two, then we will come to know that the values are not same. Therefore, they are not equivalent fractions. Now, there is a question for you. You have to think and you have to discuss and you have to write. The question is like this: why do the equivalent fractions represent the same part of a whole? The question is, why do the equivalent fractions represent the same part of a whole? How can we obtain one from the other? Look at the example. So, 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 are equivalent, because if we simplify 2 by 4, we will get 1 by 2. Therefore, one is obtained from the other. So, equivalent fractions represent the same part of whole, because when we simplify the fractions, so they will give the same value. That is why. And how can we get one from other means? So, here in case of 2 by 4, if you are going to simplify, we will get the first fraction. Now, let us come to the second question. How to write equivalent fractions to a given fraction? It is familiar to you. You are familiar to identify the equivalent fractions if the set of fraction is given. Now, let us try to write equivalent fractions for the given fraction. To write the equivalent fractions for a given fraction, you may multiply both numerator and denominator of the given fraction by the same number. That means, so if there is a equivalent fraction like, if there is a fraction like 1 by 3, so how to write equivalent fractions for 1 by 3 means, we have to keep on multiply the different values for 1 by 3. That means, so if you are going to multiply 2 and 2 for the numerator and denominator, we will get equivalent fraction for 1 by 3. That means, we have to multiply the same number for the numerator and denominator to obtain the equivalent fraction for the given fraction. Here for 1 by 3, the first equivalent fraction is 2 by 6, and how to write the second equivalent fraction? So, here I have taken 2 to multiply for the numerator and denominator. Here I am taking 3. So, how much I will get? 1 into 3 is 3 and 3 into 3 is 9. Therefore, 3 by 9 is another equivalent fraction for 1 by 3. Can you tell me one more? Yes, my dear student. So, just multiply 4 to the numerator and denominator. How much you will get? 4 ones are 4 and 4 threes are 12. Therefore, 4 by 12 is another example for equivalent fraction for 1 by 3. Now, my dear student, you have a question. You have to write the 3 equivalent fractions for 5 by 4. So, just you should use the technique I had given just now to write the 3 equivalent fractions for the 5 by 4. What you have to do? You have to multiply the same number for numerator and denominator. The given fraction is 5 by 4. Then 5 2s are 10 and 4 2s are 8. Therefore, the equivalent fraction for 5 by 4 is 10 by 8. How to write one more? Yes, just multiply 3 for numerator and denominator. How much you will get for the numerator? 5 3s are 15 and 4 3s are 12. So, therefore, 15 by 12 is another example, and which is one more equivalent fraction for 5 by 4. So, just multiply 4 for numerator and denominator. You can take much more bigger number also, but I am taking smaller values to write the equivalent fractions easily. 5 into 4 is 20 and 4 into 4 is 16. So, this is how equivalent fractions can be written for the given fraction. Just look at the procedure what we have did to get the equivalent fraction. The fraction is 5 by 4. We have written 5 by 4 everywhere here. See 5 by 4, 5 by 4 and 5 by 4. What we have did next? We have multiplied same value for numerator and denominator, 2 by 2, 3 by 3 and 4 by 4. For first one, how much we will get? 10 by 8 we have got, and for the second one 15 by 12 we have got, and for the third one 20 by 16 we have got. Therefore, 10 by 8, 5 by 15 by 12 and 20 by 16 are the equivalent fractions for 5 by 4. Now, let us write another 3 equivalent fractions for 11 by 15. What to do? Yes, my dear student, you are telling is correct. We have to multiply the same value for the numerator and denominator. I am taking 2 to multiply numerator and denominator. 11 2s are 22, 15 2s are 30. Then what next? Yes, my dear student, we are multiplying 3 for the numerator and denominator. 11 3s are 33, 15 3s are 45. Then what next? Yes, you are correct. 11 4s are 44 and 15 4s are 60. Therefore, the equivalent fractions of 11 by 15 are 22 by 30, 33 by 45 and 44 by 60. My dear student, I am giving you a question. Try yourself to get the answer for this question. Find the 5 equivalent fractions of each of the following. Question is 2 by 3, 13 by 25, 17 by 19. Here you have to write 5 equivalent fractions. Follow the method just now had given to you, and I hope you are all able to write the equivalent fractions for the given fractions. Now, let us go to the next concept. Write the fractions with respect to the figure given. Are all these fractions equivalent? Here we have to write the fractions with respect to the shaded portion given in the figure, and we have to compare these fractions and we have to identify whether they are equivalent or not. Here the whole is divided into 2 equal parts and one part is shaded. So, therefore, answer for this is 1 by 2 and the fraction for this shaded portion is 1 by 2. Here the whole is divided into 4 parts and out of that 2 is shaded, 2 by 4, Here 3 by 6, the whole is divided into 6 parts and 3 parts are shaded. Now, the whole is divided into 8 equal parts, out of which 4 parts are shaded. So, look at the shaded area, all shaded areas are equal. Here half of the circle is shaded, here also half of the circle is shaded, here also half of the circle is shaded, here also half of the circle is shaded, whatever may be the fraction which is given over here. That means, if you are going to simplify this, we will get 1 by 2, 1 by 2 again, 1 by 2. Therefore, 1 by 2, 2 by 4, 3 by 6, 4 by 8 are equivalent fractions. Is it understood? Very good. Let us go to the next question. Find the equivalent fractions of 2 by 5 with respect to the numerator 6. Here the instruction is given like this. We have to write the equivalent fractions for 2 by 5 and the numerator should be 6. So, as you all know that how to get 6? When we are going to multiply 2 with 3, we will get 6. So, that means we have to multiply 3 for both numerator and denominator. Therefore, we will get numerator 6 and also denominator 15. Therefore, according to the question given, the fraction equivalent fraction for 2 by 5 with the numerator 6 is 6 by 15. Let us come to the another question. Here a denominator value is given. Find the equivalent fractions of 15 by 35 with the denominator 7. Here if you observe the denominator, we are seeing 35 there. So, therefore, we have to divide the numerator and denominator by 5. Therefore, we will get the equivalent fractions with respect to the question given. Here 15 by 5 is 5 3s are 15 and 35 divided by 5 is 7. Therefore, equivalent fraction for 15 by 35 is 3 by 7. Is it understood? Very good, my dear student. Let us go with another question. Find the equivalent fraction of 2 by 9 with the denominator 63. So, you know that when 7 is multiplied with 9, we will get 63. That means, we have to multiply both for the numerator and denominator by 7 to get the equivalent fraction, that is 2 into 7 is 14 and 9 into 7 is 63. So, therefore, equivalent fraction for 2 by 9 is 14 by 63. My dear student, while learning about equivalent fractions, to obtain the equivalent fractions, you have multiplied same number for the numerator and denominator, and also you have divided same number for the denominator as well as the numerator to obtain the equivalent fractions. So, that is what we have called the expression of fraction in simplest form. Some fractions are already in simplest form that cannot be expressed in simplest form, but some fractions can be expressed in simplest form, because if the numerator and denominator are having the same multiples, then that can be expressed in simplest form, or if they are having same HCF, highest common factor, then also we have to be simplify the numerator and denominator, and we can express the fraction in simplest form. To express a fraction in simplest form, a fraction is said to be in the simplest or lowest form if it is numerator and denominator have no common factor except 1. The simplest form of 36 by 24 is, let us find out the HCF for 36 and 24, as I said already. Follow the division method of finding HCF. Here just write 36 as well as 24 like this. Divide bigger number with respect to the smaller number, that is 24 ones are 24. So, what is the remainder? Remainder is 12. So, again this becomes smaller number, this becomes the bigger number. So, just divide 24 by 12. So, therefore, how much you will get? Yes, 12 2s are 24. Here you are getting 0. Therefore, 12 is HCF for 36 and 24. So, this is the one of the best method to find out the HCF of two numbers. Here the 12 is left behind as it is. So, therefore, HCF of this 36 and 24 is 12. Now divide the 36 and 24 by 12. How much you will get? Very good, my dear student. If you are going to divide 36 by 12, we will get 12 3 is a 36, and for 24 by 12, that is 12 2 is a 24. Then the simplest form of the fraction is 3 by 2. Now let us check whether the given fractions are equivalent or not. To check the given fractions are equivalent or not, it is not possible to just by looking at the fraction, because so one is 5 by 9 and another is 30 by 54. So if you are going to see at first, we come to know that they are not equivalent, but before comparing the fractions into a equivalent fractions, we have to express them in a simplest form. As we all know that 5 by 9 is always in the simplest form, and we can simplify 30 as well as 54. So HCF we have to be calculate here. 31s are 30. If you are going to divide 54 by 30, then what is the remainder over here? 24 will be the remainder. So again 24 ones are 24. Then what will be the remainder? 6. So 6 4s are 24. If you are going to divide it further, therefore here 0 we will get, and 6 is left behind as it is. Therefore 6 is the HCF for 30 and 54. Now divide 30 and 54 by 6. How much we will get? 5 by 9. So therefore here 5 by 9 and this 5 by 9 are same. Therefore they are equivalent fractions. That means 5 by 9 and 30 by 54 are equivalent fractions. The given fractions are equivalent. Let us test one more. 3 by 10 and 12 by 50. 3 by 10 already in simplest form. Let us find the simplest form of 12 by 50. So write the 12 by 50, divide 50 by 12. So find the nearest multiple for 50. 12 4s are 48. Then remainder is 2. Then divide 12 by 2, you will get 6. That is 2 6 are 12. Remainder is 0 over here. Then 2 is the HCF for 12 and 50. Therefore divide 12 and 50 by 2. What you will get? Yes, my dear student, 2 6 are 12 and 2 25 are 50. Therefore 6 by 25 is the simplest form of 12 and 50. Therefore 3 by 10 and 6 by 25 are not equal. Therefore they are not equivalent fractions. Now let us learn the important area of this lesson. That is important part of this lesson is like fractions as well as unlike fractions. So while we are comparing the fractions, we need to know about like fractions, and while doing the fundamental operations on fractions, we need to know about like fraction as well as unlike fractions. Then what is meant by like fraction? Yes, look at the example which is shown on the screen. 1 by 5, 2 by 5, 4 by 5, 3 by 5. So in all these fractions, your look at the denominator. Denominators are same. In all the fractions, the denominators are same. If the fractions are like this, they are called as like fractions. Now it is easy to define the like fractions. Very good, my dear student. If the in 2 or more fractions, if the denominators are same, though there is a difference in numerator, then those kind of fractions are called as like fractions. Fractions with the same denominators are called as like fractions. Then it is easy to define unlike fractions. Look at the example what I have given here. 1 by 5, 2 by 6, 4 by 7 and 3 by 10 are the example what I have given, and look at the value of the numerator and denominator. Here the value of the numerator and denominator are the numbers appearing on the numerator and denominator are differ. Therefore, if the fractions are like this, they are called as unlike fractions. The fractions with the different denominators are called as unlike fractions. Now, there is a question on like and unlike fractions. Write 3 pair of like fractions and 3 pairs of unlike fractions. Now, we have to write the 3 pair of like fractions. One pair I have written 1 by 10 and 3 by 10. So, be careful my dear student, while writing the like fractions, we have to keep in mind that the denominator should be equal. Then I have taken another example 5 by 6 and 4 by 6 and 1 by 15 and 2 by 15. You can write many more by keeping the same denominator and by choosing the different value for the numerator. How to write unlike fractions? It is simple. If the numerator and denominators are different, therefore, they will become unlike fractions 1 by 10 and 3 by 15. Here numerator and denominators are differ. We can say like this, if the numerators are same and if the denominators are differ also, they are example for the unlike fractions. And look at the one more example. So, 15 by 13 and 2 by 15. So, these are all different examples, you can write many more. My dear student, based on today's concepts what you have learned regarding fraction, I am giving you a question as a home assignment. Please write the answer for these questions and show to your teacher. My dear student, solve the following problem. The question is like this: are 1 by 3 and 3 by 7 are equivalent? Give reason. So, the second question is, write the simplest form of 25 by 80. Next question is, check whether the given fractions are equivalent. 3 by 10 and 12 by 50. And the next question is, find 5 equivalent fractions of each of the following: 2 by 3, 1 by 5 and 5 by 9. I am repeating the question again. Are 1 by 3 and 3 by 7 are equivalent? Give reason. Second question is, write the simplest form of 25 by 80. The next question is, check whether the given fractions are equivalent: 3 by 10 and 12 by 50. The fourth question is, find the 5 equivalent fractions of each of the following: 2 by 3, 1 by 5 and 5 by 9. So, these are the questions for the home assignment. Hope you are going to do well and you are going to solve all these problems. Let us meet in the next session with many more informations. Thank you my dear student for the active participation in the class. Let us meet in the next class. Till then, have a good time, stay safe and keep learning. Thank you.